Yo, what is up guys, it Ghost here, welcome back to the channel. Another news roundup for you all today. It's really coming in thick and fast. So first of all, we've got some news on Season 1 for Battlefield 6. Apparently, that is going to be coming sooner than expected, shortly after release. It also looks like Ziba Tower may be one of the remakes that is coming to Battlefield 6. That does appear to be possibly in the works. DICE have also commented on how they plan to combat cheating in the game. And then finally, it sounds like EA may be changing into a privately traded company, which has a lot of repercussions to it, so I wanted to talk about that a little bit as well. As always, to stay up to date with everything surrounding Battlefield 6, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. I'll put out videos pretty much every day as soon as I get the information and pass it on to you guys. And of course, once the game does release on October the 10th, you can expect guides and a lot of gameplay stuff from me as well. So thank you guys so much for the support. So as you may be aware, over the past few days, the Tokyo Game Show has been taking place, and that is what the gameplay in the background is from here. I decided to put up some more Manhattan Bridge gameplay for you guys, rather than showing you, Battlefield 2042. I figured you'd just rather appreciate that. But yesterday, there were a couple of developer panels, and we had the general manager for Battlefield, Byron Bede, who is like the ex-Call of Duty guy, the guy who was behind Warzone, come on the stage, and he had some interesting stuff to say. Now, if you want to hear it straight from the horse's mouth, I will link the stream below, but, they're translating things into Japanese in between, so I figured it's just easier if we read out a nice summary, courtesy of Battlefield Bulletin. So he says, Battlefield 6 Season 1 will debut very shortly after launch, as Battlefield Studios has begun preparations for future seasonal content with new weapons, vehicles, and maps being added regularly. And this kind of ties into a leak we heard a few weeks ago, and the leak was that both the Battle Royale and the first season, with I think 2 maps, was going to be launching, I believe it was somewhere around the 20th or the 25th of October, which kind of surprised me because that's obviously just like a couple of weeks after the launch of the game. And so him saying here that it's coming very shortly after launch, I think does solidify that there may be some truth to that leak. All in all, it sounds like they've definitely got more content planned here. With Battlefield 2042, we really got let down on that front. They didn't have a lot of content planned for the game, and of course it was in such a terrible, broken mess. They had to put so much of their efforts and time into fixing it that they couldn't really give us any seasonal content. I think that is something they really need to fix with Battlefield 6. They need to be giving us more content, more than 1 map per season, and I'm just really crossing my fingers that it's going to be at least 2. I think that will be really nice. So he continues saying, General Manager Byron Bede says the teams have made adjustments and fixes that will be coming both at launch and beyond. So there's a patch coming for the launch build of the game. We've been making so many adjustments based on the open beta feedback, adjustments to weapons, customization options, recoil, tapfire characteristics, rewarding precision, and emphasizing their unique feel and performance. And you'll see through our brand new kinesthetic combat system, as he calls it, the movement mechanics have been adjusted. We're reducing slide jump momentum, penalizing jump spamming, and decreasing accuracy while firing mid-air to promote more tactical gameplay. We've also made other fixes and adjustments we can't wait for you to experience, both at launch and beyond. So I believe what he's referring to here are the same changes that we've already heard about that have been, of course, acted upon via feedback from the open beta, so that's good to hear that is coming on day 1. We're not going to have to wait for that, and it sounds like they've also got some more patches in the works as well. Now, we also had the executive producer, Ryan MacArthur, take to the stage after Byron was finished, and he says throughout the Battlefield 6 open beta, tens of thousands of players tried to cheat, but their anti-cheat system, which is called Javelin, prevented them from doing so, and he says we'll continue to identify, escalate region-specific cheat tools, and build up our dedicated feedback loops to ensure issues are regularly at surface and quickly resolved. We are constantly evolving and exploring your feedback, as this will continue to shape and evolve our anti-cheat for Battlefield 6. Now, if you're like me, you probably kind of pricked up your ears to hear that tens of thousands of people tried to cheat in the open beta. That sounds like a lot of people, but then I kind of did a bit of mathing, and if you look at how many people played the open beta, they say, EA do, that there was over 20 million players. And if you do the maths, 20,000 players would actually be 0.1% of all of the players. So even if there was like 40,000 people who tried to cheat, that's still only 0.2%, and so your likelihood of actually encountering a cheater in your game is not really that high. Although I still would like to see that number reduced. It even surprises me that that amount of people are trying to cheat in Battlefield 6, especially during an open beta. But it does sound like DICE are doing whatever they can with their new Javelin system to try to prevent that. They've made us all enable secure boot, so hopefully that's going to go at least some distance in alleviating that problem this time around. Okay, next up, let's talk about maps. So yesterday, of course, we delved a little bit into the new map that we're watching some gameplay of in the background here, Manhattan Bridge. And somebody posted this screenshot over on Reddit. This is supposed to be a comparison of all the sizes of maps in Battlefield 6. And take this with a grain of salt because this is not official from DICE. This is based on data mine stuff. But you can see that Manhattan Bridge kind of fits in around the same size as Liberation Peak, and of course the other map we haven't really seen yet, which is New Sobek City. So it's one of these medium-sized maps that sort of fits in the middle there, you know, a little bit bigger than the maps that we played in the beta, which are over on the left side. Not quite as big though as Mirak Valley and Operation Firestorm. I don't mind this honestly for the launch of the game, but I do still feel like there are a large quantity of the community who are crying out for a huge map. Like they want a map with 8 flags on there and tons of vehicles, even on Conquest. And I think DICE do need to deliver that. Like if they haven't already got it in their plans for one of the future seasons, they need to do that. I think we really need to have that in the game. Even if it's just one map, I feel like that's going to satisfy a lot of people. And personally for me, I would love to see it as well. Now the Battlefield Portal Twitter account posted this out and he says, anybody recognizes this? And this is basically a little screenshot from the recent Battlefield Portal teaser trailer that DICE released a couple of days ago. And, well, it doesn't really look like anything special, does it? It's just a grey box building that it appears to be under construction at the moment. Somebody is creating some sort of a map. But then, if you go and compare this to Ziba Tower, which is one of my, if not my favourite close quarters map from Battlefield 3 from the Close Quarters DLC, it is very, very similar. If we look at this swimming pool area here, you can see that all of these steps line up, even the sunbathing chairs line up, the staircase up on the right side there, the glass going along with the pillars and everything. It's pretty clear that somebody here in this little snapshot is creating the Ziba Tower map. Now, why would they put that in their trailer if it wasn't going to be in the game? I mean, I guess they could do. Maybe somebody was just dicking around and seeing what they could create, and they said, hey, let's just put this footage in the trailer. But I think this is a little bit of a tease that this will be one of the Battlefield Portal experiences that DICE will offer in order to show us really what is possible within the Battlefield Portal creation suite. And if this kind of stuff is possible, then that has me very, very excited to see what the community can really do with that. Now, outside of New Sobek City, the other map we haven't really seen anything of course, is called Saints Quarter. This is the second map set in Gibraltar, and it is slated to be only infantry. But yesterday, DICE did post another new screenshot for us, and it's nothing too special. It's one of these before and afters showing off the destruction. On the right side there, of course, you can see that nice, lovely blue building that's been destroyed. So all we've really got of this map so far is concept art, and it looks to be sort of the more nice touristy area, I would say, of Gibraltar. You know, the kind of place you would go on holiday. But it also looks pretty similar to the Iberian Offensive map, so it does make me wonder, like, how much is this map going to differ from the Iberian Offensive? Because I feel like when we played that map on the smaller game modes, like on Domination or King of the Hill, you know, then it was transformed, essentially, into a, you know, infantry-only CQC map. So I don't know, how is Saints Quarter going to differ? I got a sneaky suspicion that we'll probably see some gameplay from that one soon enough. I also wanted to quickly comment on this shot here. This is from the single-player campaign trailer, and it appears to be some sort of a drone, maybe a TV missile, something which is flying towards an enemy attack helicopter. Now, granted, this is only in the single player, so just because there may be a TV missile in the single player, that doesn't mean it's coming to multiplayer, although I would really like to see it. I think the TV missile being on the attack helicopter is just such an iconic piece of weaponry, a piece of kit from the Battlefield franchise, I think they're probably going to add it in DLC. I think the same can be said for the Little Bird. You know, that's something else which I think a lot of us have noticed is missing from the game at the moment, but it has been found in the files. It has been data mined by Temporeal, so it looks like they are tinkering around with that. Is it going to be the vehicle that comes as part of Season 1? Hopefully. But you can see down in the middle of this screenshot, there is like some kind of a bomb symbol here. So is it a TV missile? Is it some kind of a remote control drone? Is it a UCAV? Like, we don't really know exactly what it is, but it seems like they, for lack of a better phrase, they have the tech in the game, guys. So I think TV missiles, even though they don't come at release, they're probably going to come some point down the line. And finally here, we have a report from the Wall Street Journal, and this one's been posted again by Battlefield Bulletin, and he says EA is closing in on a deal with a group of investors, including private equity firm Silver Lake and Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, to become a private company at roughly $50 billion valuation. Since the WSJ's report broke, EA's stock has reportedly jumped up 15%. Investors could announce the deal as soon as next week. So this is an incredibly smart move. They know that Battlefield 6 has, hyped up their company, it's hyped up the valuation of their company, and so this is like the perfect time to basically get out of being a public company and just have a few select investors instead, and it basically frees them from being slaves to their investors. So the way that EA generally have to work as a public company is, they've got investors like banks. This is why we see during these EA earnings call that we have analysts from banks coming on the line, and they're asking questions basically related to the finances of EA and how they're planning to make those investors a lot of money. If they move from being a publicly traded company to a private one, that will mean they don't really have to post all of that public information anymore, because it's now just going to be private between them and the few companies that own them. So you will not be able to buy, and nobody will be able to buy EA shares anymore. It sounds like, just these two companies are the only ones that are going to sort of have ownership over the company. And what this could mean is basically that they will have more control over business decisions and their long-term strategy. There's going to be like less pressure there as well, right? Because what we see with these quarterly earnings calls is they're trying to say, okay guys, like this is how much money we've made in the last quarter. These are our plans for the year going forward. These are our plans for the next quarter. And they kind of have to keep going along to all of these investors and, trying to make them believe in the company and why they should continue to invest more money in the company. And if they're completely free of that, then they can maybe have some slightly bolder future plans going forward. And that obviously is going to lean into things like the Battlefield franchise and what they can really do there. So I think it is positive in that way. It gives them some more flexibility, some more room to move. But on the negative side, it does mean that they're, of course, going to be a lot more private. So we're maybe not going to hear as much about the company as we normally would have done. Maybe if there's any like experts on this field, investors out there watching this video, you can comment on the repercussions of this, because as a professional chef, I am by no means an expert on this field, so any input there would be welcome and I think very interesting for everybody. But with that said, I am going to wrap this one up here, guys. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it useful, informative, entertaining, any of the above, leaving a like is always appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe as well to stay up to date with everything around Battlefield, and I will see you all in the next video.